Pioneer Square a little bit, and as you go through there, check out these buildings, and they almost look like they're all put up at the same time, which never happens. You never see that in downtown. That all gets put up at the same time. But all these buildings are all put up at the same time. Not initially. Initially, when they built Seattle, they built it on the beach, and they had constant issues with the tides, the high tides, flooding, and all that stuff. So when they started to make money in the 1880s, they still couldn't get past the fact that they had this horrible little downtown. And then in 1889, there's this huge fire, just wiped out the entire city of Seattle. 34 blocks, completely burnt to the ground in 12 hours. And that gave them an opportunity to rebuild. That's what they did. And there's this tour called the Underground Tour. It's the Seattle Underground Tour. Check it out if you get a chance. It's, they can give you a lot more history, so I don't even really bother getting too much into it. They can tell you all about how when they rebuilt, they actually built the city up. They told everybody they've got to put a second floor. You've got to put a storefront on the second floor of all these new buildings, and then they built the streets up, and they put sidewalks to the second floors. They essentially raised the entire city of Seattle up.
Oh, wow.
And this tour will actually take you underground, walking underneath these sidewalks. Yeah, basically they put a wall up on this side of the street, and a wall up on this side of the street, and then they put the sidewalks into the building, so it's all opened up under these sidewalks. And it's really worth checking out. I do it. I've done it probably 5 or 6 times already. And, I really like it. But as you go through there, there's some beautiful, beautiful buildings there. It's the largest collection of Romanesque revival buildings anywhere in the world. And most of these buildings, about 54 of the buildings that were put up in this downtown center, about half of all the buildings that were put up in Pioneer Square were put up by this guy named Elmer Fisher. And Elmer Fisher was Scottish. He came over from Edinburgh when he was young and worked his way across the country. He ended up in Seattle. There's a little dispute whether it's 2 years or 2 months before the fire. But what is known is that the very first newspaper edition that came out after the fire had a big ad right on the front page, Elmer Fisher, architect. And he touted all of his experience and credentials. You know, he'd graduated from the finest architectural college. He'd worked at the best architectural firms. And he got the job to design and oversee the construction of half of the buildings down here in Pioneer Square. And they're beautiful buildings. One of them that I'll point out is called the Pioneer Building. It's named the finest building west of Chicago by the American Institute of Architecture.